Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always excited to uncover more fascinating insights.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting, the surprising connection between nature and our everyday medications.
It's really remarkable how nature has provided remedies for centuries. And what's so fascinating is how modern science is building upon those ancient remedies, refining and re-engineering them for the challenges we face today.
Yeah, it's funny, when we think of medicine, we often picture like sterile labs and complex chemical formulas. But as it turns out, some of the most powerful healing agents are hiding in plain sight. I mean, we're talking soil, plants, even fungi.
Exactly. Today, we're diving into the unexpected origins of 5 everyday medications. And I think our listeners are going to be pretty surprised by what they learn.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a real mind bender. Lovastatin, a medication that millions rely on to lower their cholesterol. Any guesses where this wonder drug comes from?
Well, you might be surprised to learn that lovastatin is actually derived from a fungus. Specifically, it's a metabolite of Aspergillus tertius, a type of fungus found in the soil.
A fungus?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when I think of like heart health.
It is pretty incredible, isn't it? Back in the 1970s, scientists discovered that this particular fungus was producing a compound that had this, remarkable ability to inhibit cholesterol production. And that discovery set the stage for the development of lovastatin, a total game changer in the fight against heart disease.
So that little pill you take to keep your cholesterol in check, it all started with a humble fungus.
It did.
It really makes you wonder what other secrets are lurking out there in the natural world,
Yeah,
just waiting to be discovered.
absolutely. Nature is this treasure trove of chemical diversity, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface of its potential.
Okay, speaking of unexpected origins, let's move on to another widely used medication, metformin, a cornerstone of diabetes management.
Yes.
Now, this one might be a bit easier to guess. Think beautiful flowers.
You're on the right track. Metformin is derived from the French lilac, also known as Galega officinalis.
Wait, French lilac, like the kind my grandmother used to grow in her garden.
Exactly. While your grandmother's garden may not have been a pharmaceutical factory, the French lilac was the original inspiration for metformin. For centuries, it was used in traditional medicine to treat various ailments, including what we now know as diabetes.
So it's like ancient wisdom meeting modern science. Love it.
What's particularly fascinating is that the active compound in French lilac, guanidine, was initially too toxic for practical use. But brilliant scientists, taking cues from nature, were able to modify its structure, eventually leading to the development of metformin, a much safer and more effective treatment.
So nature provided the blueprint and science fine-tuned it. Pretty amazing. All right, ready for our next factoid? This one's truly remarkable. Ivermectin, a medication that has saved millions of lives, particularly in the fight against parasitic diseases. And get this, it comes from the soil.
That's right. Ivermectin originates from a bacterium called Streptomyces evermiddleus, commonly found in the soil.
Okay, so I'm guessing this one isn't for diabetes or cholesterol.
Not quite. Ivermectin is primarily used to treat parasitic infections, particularly river blindness and lymphatic filariasis. These diseases are devastating, causing severe disability and affecting millions, especially in tropical regions.
So from the dirt to a global health hero. That's incredible. It shows how scientific observation combined with a bit of serendipity can lead to life-changing discoveries.
It's a perfect example of how nature holds solutions to problems we haven't even imagined yet.
All right, 2 more to go. Factoid number 4 brings us to a medication with a name that might not exactly roll off the tongue. Reserpine. But trust me, the backstory is super cool.
Okay.
Reserpine is derived from the Rauwolfia serpentina plant, which has a long and rich history in traditional Indian medicine.
It does.
I love when these ancient healing practices kind of intersect with modern medicine. There's something so powerful about that connection.
Absolutely. The story of Reserpine beautifully illustrates that connection. For centuries, Rauwolfia serpentina was used in India to treat a wide range of ailments, from mental health conditions to even snake bites.
Wow. Talk about a versatile plant. So how did it make the leap from traditional remedy to modern medication?
Well, it was this traditional use that sparked the curiosity of researchers. They eventually isolated reserpine as the active compound responsible for the plant's therapeutic effects, and it turned out to be one of the first drugs effectively used to treat high blood pressure, paving the way for the development of many modern blood pressure medications we rely on today.
It's incredible how a plant used for centuries in traditional medicine could hold the key to treating a condition that affects so many people worldwide.
Mm.
Okay, ready for our final factoid. This one's for all of us who wish we had a sharper memory.
I think we can all relate to that. We're talking about huperzine A, a fascinating compound with memory-enhancing properties. And you guessed it, it's derived from nature, a type of club moss known as Huperzia serrata.
Club moss. Now, that's not something you hear every day.
Right.
It's a fascinating example of how even the most unassuming organisms can hold incredible therapeutic potential.
They can. Huperzine A is being studied for its potential in treating Alzheimer's disease and other cognitive disorders.
So it's like this tiny plant could hold a key to unlocking better brain health.
It's certainly a promising area of research, and it highlights the incredible diversity of nature's chemical library and the potential for new discoveries right under our noses.
All right, let's just take a quick moment to recap those amazing facts before we dive deeper.
Mm.
We've got Lovastatin from a fungus, Metformin from the French lilac, Ivermectin from soil bacteria, reserpine from the Rauwolfia serpentina plant, and huperzine A from club moss. It's mind-blowing to think that these everyday medications have such unexpected origins.
It really makes you appreciate the intricate connection between nature and human health, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like nature has been holding these secrets for millennia, just waiting for us to unlock their potential. And now, armed with this knowledge, imagine yourself at a party casually dropping these nuggets of wisdom. You'll be the life of the party.
And who knows, you might even inspire someone to take a closer look at the natural world and all the wonders it holds.
Well said. Now, before we move on to our next fascinating segment, let's pause for a moment and let these incredible facts sink in. What stands out to you, listener?
What piqued your curiosity?
Take a moment to reflect on the intricate dance between nature, science, and human ingenuity. When we come back, we'll delve even deeper into the fascinating world of pharmaceuticals, exploring the complexities of drug development, the ethical considerations, and the future of medicine.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's amazing to think that the very ground we walk on could hold the key to treating debilitating diseases.
It really underscores the power of scientific curiosity and exploration.
It does.
Speaking of exploration, I think it's time to shift our focus. You know, from the origins of medications to the intricate world of our own bodies. After all, these medications wouldn't do much good if our bodies weren't so amazingly complex.
You're right. Let's delve into a fascinating aspect of human physiology that often goes unnoticed, the circadian rhythm of our liver.
Our liver has a rhythm. I have to admit, I haven't given my liver much thought beyond its role in processing those Friday night cocktails.
Well, it turns out your liver is a much more sophisticated organ than you might think. It has its own internal clock, like a circadian rhythm that governs many of its functions, including how it metabolizes drugs.
Wait a minute, my liver knows what time it is? That's wild.
In a sense, yes. The activity of various liver enzymes, the workhorses of drug metabolism, fluctuates throughout the day. Some enzymes are more active in the morning, while others peak in the evening.
So are you saying that the timing of our medication could actually affect how well it works?
Exactly. It's a fascinating example of how our internal rhythms influence our response to medications. For instance, some cholesterol-lowering medications are most effective when taken at night, because that's when the liver enzymes responsible for cholesterol processing are most active.
Wow, I had no idea. So it's not just about what we take, but when we take it.
That's right. It's a prime example of how personalized medicine is evolving. Understanding these individual rhythms can help make treatments more effective.
It's amazing how much is going on inside our bodies that we're completely unaware of. Speaking of things we might not be aware of, let's talk about the FDA.
Ah, the FDA, the guardian of drug approvals in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about how they're responsible for ensuring the safety and effectiveness of all the medications that hit the market. But there's another side to their role that I find really interesting, setting action levels for naturally occurring contaminants in food.
You mean those tiny, unavoidable traces of things we might not want to think about too much?
Exactly. Like insect fragments in peanut butter.
Okay.
It might sound a bit unsettling, but the reality is that achieving absolute purity in food is virtually impossible and incredibly expensive.
That makes sense. I mean, we can't expect our food to be completely sterile, can we?
Right. And that's where those action levels come in. They're set at thresholds that pose no real risk to human health. So a few insect fragments here and there aren't going to do you any harm.
Okay, that's a relief. But why even allow any contaminants at all?
Right.
It's a pragmatic approach to balancing safety with practicality and affordability. These thresholds help ensure that our food supply is safe while also keeping food production economically viable.
So it's a delicate balancing act between consumer safety and the realities of food production.
Precisely. The FDA recognizes that striving for absolute purity would drive up costs and potentially limit innovation in the food industry.
It's a perspective I hadn't considered before. And speaking of the FDA and their fascinating role in the world of pharmaceuticals, did you know they also maintain a secret list of words that cannot be used in drug names?
Oh, absolutely. They're very careful about language, avoiding any misleading claims.
Yeah. Think of words that might create unrealistic expectations or promise miracle cures. Words like cure, safe, or magic are definitely off limits.
Right.
It's all about keeping the science honest and the marketing grounded in reality.
It is. They want to make sure that no medication sounds like a quick fix or a guaranteed solution.
It highlights the importance of clear and accurate communication when it comes to health and medicine.
Absolutely. Now, while we're on the topic of language and perception, have you ever had the strange experience of smelling something that wasn't actually there?
You mean like phantom smells? That sounds a bit spooky.
It can be. But certain medications can actually induce a condition called phantasmia, where you perceive odors that don't exist.
Wait, medications can make you hallucinate smells? That's wild.
It does sound strange, I know, but it's often associated with certain antidepressants and antipsychotics.
So someone might be taking their medication as prescribed and suddenly start smelling like burnt toast or something.
Exactly. And the strangest part is there's no actual source of the smell. It's purely a trick of the brain, a sort of olfactory hallucination.
That's both fascinating and a bit creepy. Makes you wonder how many of our sensory experiences are shaped by brain chemistry, and how medications can sometimes disrupt those processes.
It's a reminder that our brains are incredibly complex and constantly filtering and interpreting information. And sometimes that filtering process can lead to some pretty strange and unexpected outcomes.
Okay, that last fact definitely takes the cake for the most bizarre thing I've learned today. It really makes you think about the power of medications to influence our perception of the world.
It's a powerful reminder that while medications can be incredibly beneficial, they can also have these unexpected effects on our bodies and minds. It's all about understanding those complexities and making informed decisions about our health.
Well said. All right, ready to keep exploring the fascinating world of pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely. Let's see what other wonders await us.
Welcome back, listeners. It's amazing how much we're learning about the unexpected connections between nature, our bodies, and the medications we rely on.
It highlights the importance of scientific curiosity and the power of observation. We never know where the next breakthrough will come from.
Okay, speaking of breakthroughs, let's talk about a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz lately in the world of pharmacology and neuroscience. The sigma-1 receptor.
Ah, yes, the sigma-1 receptor. It's been quite the enigma for scientists.
Really? What's so mysterious about it?
Well, for a long time, scientists thought it was an opioid receptor, but as research progressed, they realized it was something entirely different, a unique protein with its own distinct functions in the central nervous system.
So it was like a case of mistaken identity in the molecular world.
Exactly. And the more we learn about the sigma-1 receptor, the more intriguing it becomes. It appears to be involved in a wide range of processes, from modulating ion channels to influencing cellular stress responses.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility for one little receptor. So what are the implications of these discoveries?
Well, scientists believe that targeting the sigma-1 receptor could open up entirely new avenues for treating a variety of neurological and psychiatric conditions, from depression and anxiety to even Alzheimer's disease.
So it's like a master key that could unlock treatments for some of the most challenging brain disorders.
It's a very promising area of research, for sure, and it underscores how even the smallest molecular players can have a huge impact on our health and well-being.
It's incredible how much we still don't know about the intricacies of our own brains. All right, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about a substance that has a reputation for being both deadly and incredibly useful botulinum toxin, better known as Botox.
Ah, Botox, the wrinkle erasure with a rather dark side.
Exactly. I mean, how did something so toxic end up being injected into people's faces?
It's all about dosage. In large amounts, botulinum toxin is one of the deadliest poisons known to humankind. But in very small, controlled doses, it can be used safely and effectively for both cosmetic and medical purposes.
It's a perfect example of the saying, the dose makes the poison.
Precisely. And the way Botox works is fascinating. It blocks the release of certain neurotransmitters, essentially preventing nerve signals from reaching muscles.
So it's like temporarily paralyzing the muscles that cause wrinkles.
Exactly. And that same mechanism can be used to treat a variety of other conditions, from muscle spasms to chronic migraines.
Wow, talk about a versatile toxin. It's amazing how science can take something so potentially dangerous and turn it into a beneficial treatment.
It's a testament to the power of understanding biological systems and finding ways to manipulate them for therapeutic purposes.
All right, let's move on to our next fascinating fact. This one takes us back to the tiny gatekeepers of our nervous system, ion channels.
Ion channels, those remarkable proteins that control the flow of ions across cell membranes.
Yeah, I vaguely remember learning about them in biology class. But remind me why they're so important.
Think of ion channels as tiny doorways that open and close to allow specific ions like sodium or potassium to pass in and out of cells. This movement of ions creates electrical impulses that travel along nerve cells, allowing us to think, move, and feel sensations.
So they're essentially the electrical wiring of our bodies.
A perfect analogy. And what's even more remarkable is that recent advancements in imaging technology have allowed scientists to visualize the structures of ion channels in unprecedented detail.
So we can actually see these tiny doorways now.
Exactly. And what we've learned is that ion channels are incredibly dynamic. They change shape and conformation in response to different stimuli, which in turn affects their function.
So it's not just about whether the doorway is open or closed, it's also about the shape of the doorway itself.
Precisely. And this has profound implications for drug development.
How so?
Well, traditional drug design often focuses on finding molecules that bind to specific receptors on cells. But with ion channels, it's not just about binding, it's about finding molecules that can modulate the shape and activity of these channels in a very specific way.
So it's a much more nuanced approach to drug development.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to fine-tune the electrical activity of our nervous system to achieve therapeutic benefits.
This is why I find the world of pharmaceuticals so fascinating. It's like this never-ending puzzle with new discoveries, constantly reshaping our understanding of how our bodies work.
Absolutely. And speaking of nature's remarkable ability to solve puzzles, let's talk about fungi. They may not be the most glamorous organisms, but they hold a surprising secret.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the secret?
Certain types of fungi are like miniature pharmaceutical factories. They produce an incredible array of complex molecules, many of which have potent biological activity.
Like penicillin.
Penicillin is a classic example. But fungi are capable of producing much more than just antibiotics. They can also create anti-cancer agents, immunosuppressants, and a whole range of other compounds with therapeutic potential.
Wow, that's incredible. So are we talking about harvesting these compounds from fungi for medicinal purposes?
That's one approach. But what's even more exciting is that scientists are now studying the biosynthetic pathways that fungi use to create these molecules.
What are synthetic pathways? What are those?
Think of them as step-by-step instructions that fungi use to build complex molecules. Each step is controlled by a specific enzyme, and by understanding these pathways, scientists can potentially replicate them in the lab.
So instead of relying solely on harvesting compounds from fungi, we could actually learn how to make them ourselves.
Exactly. It's like learning nature's recipe and then recreating it in our own kitchens.
That's incredible. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for drug development and sustainable production.
It truly does. And it highlights how nature continues to inspire and guide scientific innovation.
Well, there you have it, listeners. We started this deep dive by exploring the unexpected natural origins of some of our most common medications. We then ventured into the fascinating world of our own bodies, uncovering hidden rhythms and surprising sensitivities.
We've seen how science is constantly pushing the boundaries of knowledge, from deciphering the intricate mechanisms of ion channels to unlocking the secrets of fungal biosynthesis.
And through it all, we've gained a deeper appreciation for the delicate balance between the power of nature and human ingenuity.
A reminder that the world is full of wonder, and science is the key to unlocking its secrets. So keep those minds curious, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.
See you then.